Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and today we're checking out 5 knives.
Actually, it's 6 knives.
This is the SPYDERCO Chicago, and since I'm in the Chicago area, it just makes sense, but it is a tiny knife. It is a very small knife, and it's called the Chicago because, you know, it's supposed to be Chicago legal, yada yada yada. I'm sure it's legal just about everywhere. Locking knives is acceptable because it is such a tiny little knife, probably only an inch and a half cutting length, but you can get a full 4-finger grip because of the forward choil that SPYDERCOs give you. Great access to the liner. It is on washers, so it's not going to be free fall dropping action, but you can still Spidey flick it. And the slow roll is actually pretty satisfying. Just because it is, you know, it still is a nice smooth action. It's just not bearing type smooth. Deep carry wire clip, so it is going to be easy to carry. G10 scales, nice and grippy. The blade steel is BD1N. BD1N is it's somewhat of a budget steel. Some people would call it like a low mid-grade steel, but it's basically, it's a budget steel, but it's just fine. You know, if you're just doing regular day-to-day tasks, regular day-to-day cutting, it will be just fine for you. And it's very easy to sharpen. It does strap back pretty good. So, not a bad steel, but I do like the little things like, look at all these stop pins, standoffs that just make this thing, it's a little tank. It actually is a very tough little knife. The only two problems with it is that the lock bar is really strong, so when you push it over, you know, while it has very easy access to disengage it, it's not the most comfortable to disengage. And, you know, the pivot is pretty tight. It's like no drop shuttiness whatsoever, but it is still very smooth since it's on washers. You just have to manually shut it. Let's get to the next one. Now, the next one is the Dylan Mallory TYLOS, I think the name is. The ARTISAN TYLOS. So, this is one I honestly thought I would like so much more than I do. And I only really have one complaint. And other than that, I mean, and I'll talk about it, but I would think I would love this so much more than I actually do. I mean, it's easy to flick left-handed. The reverse flicking action is great. The action period is just a great action. Good access to the lock bar, nice and smooth on the drop. Good materials. We have carbon fiber, a bolster lock, a titanium frame lock bolster lock with carbon fiber overlays. Which, you know, I love that. I love bolster locks. S35 VN blade steel. Dylan Mallory does really good designs. Titanium milled pocket clip that works great. Now, the front flipper, that's my one issue. This front flipper, I don't like it at all. And I like front flippers, but it's just so slippery. This is not the kind of jimping you want on a front flipper. They did not wrap it all the way around. It's slick up here, and I always slip off of it. And yes, I can deploy it every time, but I have to thoughtfully do it. Like, I have to think about it. I have to put my finger there, and I have to cognitively say, don't slip. So because of that, I think that's the one reason why, you know, I'm not a huge fan. Now, the blade shape is a great blade shape. The handle works very well with the blade. It is somewhat of a smaller knife, so it's not going to be mega comfortable, but for how thin and slim it is and lightweight, you know, it's relatively comfortable. You can get up nice and tight to the edge. The pinch grips are great. So you would think I'd like this a lot more. Maybe I just need to carry it more, but this front flipper just kind of gets to me. I think that they just missed a huge opportunity here because this has the potential to have such a good front flipper. And even though I can do it, I'm always, you know, it's always a threat that I could slip off of this one. So it just kind of burns it for me. Next, really quick, I want to talk about this because they are still available. So if you haven't checked out the JACKWOLF Knives K9, they are still available. I believe 3 different versions are still available on OCD for EDC. So check out OCD for EDC's website. He not only has JACKWOLF knives, but he also has a CME and other things available as well, including his Slick 'em all. But this is a beautiful modern traditional. We have a big bellied spear point blade with a full hollow grind. Super duper thin behind the edge. This one is in the green micarta, which is still available. I think the only one not available is the red fat carbon one on there, I believe. M390 steel, and even though it has this dog leg handle shape, it's actually still pretty comfortable in the hand, you know, and like I said, since it's a big belly drop point, you're going to have a good amount of belly for slicing tasks. The blade being so thin, it passes through materials really good, and you can still do, you know, little utility cuts. Now, if it wasn't a big belly spear point, you'd be able to do better utility cuts, but it still works just fine. So opening things up is going to be great. The walk and talk is amazing. Nice strong pull, but it's easy to get to because you have plenty of blade hanging out, so you don't even need to use the nail nick. And in the open position, it gives you a lot of tension, so it's going to stay open really good. The sheath is really good quality. The stitching's really good. If you don't have one of these, definitely check it out. Next, we have a micro knife, the mini KORVID. Now, these are available right now. I will have it linked down in the description. This exact version, too. Now, there's other versions as well. Like, you have the raw titanium version without the raindrops. But the raindrops do look very cool. Then they like I said, they have other versions as well, like the micarta one, and then they have a medium-sized version and an XL version. So, lots of different KORVIDs. Very cool though, very smooth, flipping action. It does have a reverse flicking fuller that's hard to get because it's such a tiny knife, and then it also has a front flipper. So lots of deployment options on this little tiny knife, but you know, it's fun, and that's what's cool about it. And you know, it might be a cool way to get your girl into knives. She doesn't have to be, you know, really good at all the actions, but as long as she can grip it and pull, she'll open it up just fine. But this is, it's a cool looking little knife. You can put a lanyard on it, and this thing deserves a lanyard because it does not have a clip. That is one thing I wish they would have done. If they would have put a clip on this, oh man, it would have been so cool. But like I said, you could put a lanyard on here and just drop it right in your fifth pocket. S35 VN blade steel. This one's in titanium. It does have a steel lock bar insert. And then it is a 1.5 finger knife. But basically, it's a pinch grip knife. You put your pointer finger right here in this groove and just hold it just like that to open things up. Cleaver blade shape, and it is very smooth for how little it is. And you can actually Spidey flick it, which is crazy. But there you guys go. Let's check out this next one. Now, this next one is a USA made knife. This is a buck. Now, this buck knife is an automatic. So, and it does smack. When I tell you it smacks, it smacks. Now, from what I hear is that they have the same size spring as in their larger version. I have not tried their larger version. This one is a 3-finger knife, but it's going to be legal in most areas. And you can also take advantage of this area right here, so you can get a full 4-finger grip. The pinch grips are nice and comfortable. 154 cm on this drop point hollow ground blade that does have all belly, so it's going to be a relatively easy knife to sharpen. Nice angle on the edge bevel as well, but it is slightly thick behind the edge. But like I said, it is a hollow grind, so nice piercing tip. It's going to be easy to do utility cuts, easy to go around boxes, and if you do need to break something down real quick, you'll have no issues. Aluminum handles that are anodized. This one happens to be the bronze colored version. Deep carry clip. I believe it's reversible. Yeah, because you just have to take that out and flip it over to this side. And the clip works great. Good deep carry clip. The stop pin is a good size stop pin. The one little thing is I do have a little tiny bit of up and down, but it is an automatic, and button locks can tend to get a little bit of that. I have no doubt if I stretch the spring, it would probably go away, but it's not even that big of a deal to me. You know, it's a light duty knife. It's not something I'm going to be hard on, but you could totally stretch the spring and fix that, or I could, I should say. But awesome little knife. Next, or last, is probably my favorite KIZER Yorkie. And this is the liner lock version now. M390 steel, red paper micarta. It looks like G10, but it is a red paper micarta. But the action on this thing is stupid good. The detent is as crisp as you would ever want a detent. It is so easy to deploy, and the access to the lock bar is so comfortable. Now, I do have the premium version, the titanium one with a flipper. Let me see if I have it right here. Here's the titanium one. Now, this one has a Stasified anno finish because Stasa actually gifted us this a long time ago, and he did one hell of a job on the anodizing. S35VN blade steel on this one, and this is a cool knife. A little small knife, but a great little knife. Now, they do come in another version with a hole that is the titanium frame lock version, but this one, it just takes it to a whole nother level. One, you don't have the flipper tab in the way, so you get a full 4-finger grip. The size of it and the slight contouring and just all the details of the handle make it extremely comfortable. Whether you're just doing push cuts, pinch grips, reverse grips, it's a super comfortable small knife. The access to the lock bar is very comfortable to disengage, complete fall shut action. The thumb studs are easy to get to, and like I said, the detent is super crisp, even for the reverse flick. Even if you're left-handed, I know the clip does not reverse, and it is a titanium milled clip, by the way. It's very easy to reverse flick or thumb flick lefty. So, you know, and with M390 steel, it's got a premium steel on it. The one big complaint I have, or the biggest complaint I should say, is I don't like where the plunge grind lands and the choil is, but I can easily fix that because it is internal stop pin, so I can cut in my own choil if I wanted to right there because there's nothing stopping it. So, and you can see the internal stop pins. Lockup is super solid. And yes, this is a Ray Laconico design. Even the slow roll, even though the detent is a little stiff for a slow roll, as long as you grab it by the back of your thumb, you can easily do it. In the lockup, it yanks the blade into the locked position. It's so clicky, and the bearings are so smooth. You don't feel them rolling. And yeah, just a super solid little knife that's just very well built and put together. Compact, very easy to carry. And for such a small knife, man, this thing is so capable. Such a super capable knife. But anyways, there you guys go. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.